I do want to go through last year.
We'll start with that, and maybe a start of the intro for Ches of his chicken wire accomplishments. So people know what a big deal it is for us
No,
on the pod.
not necessary. Not necessary.
Well, Sean, you're not the creative director of the show.
I am. Unfortunately, Ches has won so much that I don't have a list of all the times he's actually won.
Yeah, and
Nope,
this
I only
this
won
can't be a
this one
3 hour
once.
podcast either.
What year did you win this, Ches?
With
2 years ago, JK.
That's the only one you've won.
I've lost in the finals a few times.
Yeah,
No wonder he talks so much shit about being your partner.
Yeah. Well, I put him on the map.
Is Severance joining?
He is. It's only 5:50 though. So we'll I don't know. We can talk a little bit more. So the weather last year,
I'm
brutal,
still soaked.
right? Where did you start, Cliff?
with 3 of the people in this.
Oh, you were on the A flight.
We were in the A flight. We bumped up from B after winning, right, Luke, to A.
We
No.
never won B, man. We won C.
C.
Oh, we won C. Oh my God. So we jumped B.
The biggest
Now we're back in B.
the biggest sandbagging in the history of paddle.
I got an invite and I didn't turn it down.
Did you guys lose a set? Did anybody get any more than 2 games off of you guys?
I think so.
Come
I
on.
don't think we were very worried though for most of that tournament run. I would say
Who did you beat in the final?
2 young guys that their names escape me that I really like them. Let me look through the bracket. I think I can find it. Cliff, do you remember what their names were?
2 years ago? No idea. I think were they Georgetown buddies of Severance?
No, they were from here. We can cut this.
Are we live?
He's recording, but he can.
We're
edit
not
it.
live. We're recording, and I can edit anything.
I don't remember who you played. That was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. I think they made it to the final last year too and lost in the C.
They would have lost to Sean McDermott then. Well, we have the C results right here.
Yeah.
Was it Dan Garigula
Yes.
and Pat
Tall
St.
guy?
Klein? Pat St.
Yeah.
Klein?
I think so, yeah. They're
Okay,
young,
so
they're
they
like
lost.
maybe their 30s.
Yeah, they've lost 2 years in a row in the finals.
Yeah. Super nice guys though. We had a blast.
Yeah, definitely.
Those aren't
Maybe
local
that's why
guys,
they're
though,
the
are
one
they?
seed. Yeah. I mean, Dan is. I don't know, Pat. Dan's a Navasink guy. I don't know if he plays a ton of paddle, though. But that's at least 2 years in a row they've made the finals. So that's hence the number 1 seed.
There you go. All right, so
Here's this Chaz of the chicken wire.
What's that?
What year is this? How many years has this been going on?
I wish Brian was here to answer that. I missed the first 2 years. It's got to be 12 or.
Wow.
I think he wrote it in here. In one of his emails.
Established 2013.
I've got it here. So this is how we're going to
Well-
start it anyway. Just in case Brian doesn't hop on, he did send me a blurb for me to. So I'll just do that now, and then if he comes on, he can do it again. Brian is obviously the founder of the Chicken Wire. He says the Chicken Wire started out with my love for the Bauer Cup and how special that was. I went to college with Stevie and Dave Bauer, and I remember thinking, this day is too good to only happen once a year. Plus, how do we get all our college friends involved? Which was impossible given the local popularity of the Bauer. So the Chicken Wire was birthed out of the Bauer in a need to get college friends involved. In my mind, the Bauer is the Masters, and the Chicken Wire is the waste management. I love I love the planning and festival environment. Wanted to create an experience that made sure people kept coming back, which people do. We have friends flying in from all over the country. The timing of the tournament is amazing as it comes usually during some horrible March weather. So people are ready to get out of the house, compete, have some laughs, and enjoy live music. A perfect way to celebrate a good wrap up of paddle, as well as get new players involved in the game that we all love so much. It started out with 16 teams in 2013 at one club, and now this year, between the Hen and the Wire, we have 100 teams playing over 2 days and three clubs. I would say that 95% of the core is still involved, so it has become a really fun way to get all the people I love so much from different parts of my life together for an epic weekend. This community is a real highlight of the day. I can't believe how many people pitch in to make this event what it is. I love the money we are able to raise for Cure Alzheimer's, which is a cause very important to my wife, Meg, and my heart, as well as many other participants I have talked to who have had an experience with this awful disease. See you all during the chicken hour and hope to. That was a Joe Biden moment. I was like, pause. um, uh, and to that point, though, I mean, what an unbelievable event. I think he raised what, $37,000 last year for Cure Alzheimer's. That's
Yeah.
incredible. It's a lot of money.
I think it was 11 or 12 the year before that too. So you can see the proliferation of, participation. It's amazing. He talks about the Bauer, obviously being the granddaddy of them all. Good analogy, masters waste management. I still think the Bauer is probably like the Rose Bowl. It really is. It's what that does for the community, of varying ages. People want to win it. People talk about it. This one's more of a carnival. This is Mardi Gras. And to have paddle season end with this for the most part, I mean, I can't think of a more fitting way to do it.
Couldn't have said it better, Ches. Rose Bowl to Mardi Gras.
Yeah, I mean, crazy stuff happens at Mardi Gras. I hope that that continues. I hope the fact that Brian keeps everyone on their toes. No two chicken wires are alike. People are anticipate coming and hearing different things and seeing different things, and we'll probably get into some of that. I don't want to spoil it all early, but I think that's what makes it so great. And there are people from out of town that are encouraged to play in this, so it's not just a local flair only. You do have people from all over the place. Obviously, Georgetown has a huge contingent that does come down. So it's a different feel, but that's what makes it so special. And I think Brian does an unbelievable job organizing and putting this all together at three different clubs. Believe me, I've tried to do it through another tournament. It's hard to do.
Well, I got involved a little bit last year, just helping organize the silent auction, and now I'm seeing even more behind the scenes this year with what Ches does, and his brother Brian and his father, Mr. Severance, and Larry Fell, and I just the logistics of this. The other thing was I got involved or tried to help Brian when it started raining and finding a tent last minute. Like there's a lot of work and sweat that goes into making this thing happen. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, you think about last year raising funds for a tent in about 45 minutes. That was on top of your entry fee. People just threw in and, had no problem doing it. Brian reached out and the community said, yeah, what do you need? $100, bang. I mean, and it got it done in like 40 minutes. That's what this tournament's about. I've never played in another tournament that is really for charity like this is. Some of them may say it. I've never experienced one that can raise $37,000 plus have to outlay some, extra money like that we did last year for the tent.
The what else was I going to say about the the charity aspect. I just lost my train of thought because my wife just texted me in the middle of the podcast. God damn it, Courtney. Doesn't she know better?
It better be edited.
Um, so where do we want to start from here? Do we want to go into brackets, or do we want to wait to talk about more about the chicken if Brian comes on?
Well, I mean, what are your some of your experiences? We got a couple of young guys here, Luke and Cliff, that have played in a few of them. So from a different angle, what's it like to play in the chicken wire, coming up and seeing what it's all about?
I can take it from there, I guess. But it's the most fun paddle tournament I've ever played in, the most theatrical one. I mean, they have trumpeters announcing your arrival, barbers and haircuts in every hut. Raw seafood bar, full open bars. For everyone, food's insane. So just obviously the paddle is great. There's a ton of great players, obviously at Seawright, and people that come down for this. So getting to watch, those A matches, the semis and finals are obviously a blast, and everyone's there to watch for that. But just it's hard to recreate like the camaraderie that's at the event with everyone that's there, and just a bunch of fun people that are coming together to raise money for a great cause. And it's I think the most fun day of the paddle year. So you guys have done a great job running it, and it's unbelievable to raise almost 40 grand in a year from it. So I think it's just all good things and just a great positive day for everyone.
I agree. It's hands down the best paddle tournament around. I mean, unfortunately, this is year 4, and I've played in C, B, and A, and no matter what division you're in, it's still a great experience. I mean, Brian and the team behind the scenes just does a phenomenal job. It's awesome that, the hens, the women are now involved. It's a great start to the weekend. And I'm just happy this year I remember not to get a haircut, because that's something I'll definitely be taking advantage of.
To that point, like I guess for people that are new to the wire, like myself, last year was my second year. This will be my third year. Watching the hens start out last year was interesting because it's kind of like the infancy of the wire. You're seeing them build it. Now they have double the field, and who knows what it's going to become next year. And that was an absolute party last year. I think we were out there till like midnight until I made the mistake of letting Rich Fitzsimmons into my house.
Bad move. Say no more.
B&T day.
Do you have any red wine?
It really is crazy that Courtney has stayed with you through all this.
Oh my God. But the first year was kind of like a blur for me. Last year was it's really hard to describe playing in those conditions for an entire day. I mean, I know Ches, you wore a bathing suit. I brought like 4 or 5 changes of clothes, and I was so wet by 8:45 after my first match was over. I basically was like, what is the point? If I change, I'm gonna be soaking wet in 5 minutes. So and then I honestly, and I'm not really like a gamer, but mentally I was like, okay, this sucks, and it's gonna be like this for 8 hours. Buckle up, get your head on straight, and ignore it, and just be wet. You know what I mean? Because people were miserable at times just with the amount of buckets coming down. And I said to myself, like, okay, embrace it, because if you just sit here and bitch about it, then it's gonna, affect your play. You're not gonna have fun. So it's like, screw it. Let's just get wet.
And I think that that self pep talk definitely worked out because you did end up winning the B division last year in a monsoon, and however many matches you played. So that was a hell of a run that you and Parks had last year. And the final match I remember was versus Hugh and Donnie. I think Hugh O'Hare and Donnie McDonald, and that was a ESPN instant classic. It was a 3-setter, and there was different lead changes. I think in every set, someone blew like a 4-1 lead in almost every set. So that was just an outrageous match to watch. And I think it might have even stolen some of the crowd from the A final because you guys were giving such a battle out there.
That is, so you witnessed the apex of my paddle career. It's all downhill after that. Number one. Number two, I will say this for guys that have won like yourselves. The one thing that hit me like the next day was how hard it really is to win a tournament. You know what I mean? Like, especially one that you're having fun at with the chicken wire where there's so much beer involved. It's easy to kind of go astray and maybe have a few too many pops and then you're not playing as well. But winning 5 matches in a row, that like I have a profound amount of respect for people like Ches and other people that have won tournaments because it's not easy. Like you have to have some luck. You honestly have to have some luck, I would say. Be, I mean, don't you guys agree? Is
Definitely. I think, you said with the beer involved, it does help having a partner that's in high school for that.
That shouldn't stop anyone at the chicken wire, though.
That's
Can't
a
say
great
that.
look. That is classic. I offered
Sean,
him a
where are you
beer.
gonna put the patch? You got a nice sport jacket?
I'm debating. I go back and forth. Like I've got JB in Hall in one ear saying you got to go like classic blue blazer, but then I'm like I'm gonna wear that one night a year, and then I've got Mr. Practical Ches, who's like put it on something that you're gonna wear all the time, like a paddle vest. I'm leaning towards that.
I think you just get it tattooed. I
That
think Courtney would really
would be
dig that.
epic. No one's done that. No one's put the chicken wire on a tattoo.
My ass is big enough for that, so that shouldn't be a problem. I don't know. It could be a coin flip, but I'm leaning towards like a vest or something that I wear. Maybe I put it on a Cutter's Rule hoodie. Who
I
knows,
don't see why not.
right?
I think you should.
That just
Then
that literally just
win
popped
another.
in my mind, right?
Yeah, win another one. You can put it on your blue blazer that you'll never wear.
Um,
The one night a year you're wearing the blue blazer, but that was for your anniversary, right? Or
yeah, exactly. Or my kid's wedding. Um, I don't know,
That
but
would be another epic placement on a tuxedo jacket.
ooh, I like
yeah.
that too.
That would be
So Sean, so we were talking about last year. You took home the B flight and beat Hugh and Donnie in the finals of that. And then the A flight last year, the Thompson brothers won it. Did they beat, I believe, Steve Ellis and Ernie Kier in the final, or was that a semi?
No, they did.
Yeah.
They
And
beat
Chet,
Ernie.
and you were in the semis last year with Pete Hurley also. And did you lose to Steve and Ernie, or did you lose to the Thompsons?
Yeah. Steve really was masterful in the wet conditions.
Yeah, him and Ernie are tough when it's with how they can spin it with any slick conditions. It makes them almost unbeatable.
Yeah, 6 inches of rain will do it. They were really good. But the kids, the Thompsons, I mean, to play them as well as they did in the final, it was good stuff.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Steve Ellis isn't playing this year because he's nursing kind of a foot injury. So hopefully we'll get him back out there next year. But like you said, the Thompsons have pretty much been on an unreal run. I think they won the member. They won the Bauer Cup this year, right? And are defending chicken wire champions.
They did not win the Bauer.
Oh no!
Do not let Brian and Tommy hear you say that.
By mistake.
And that was Brian's first Bauer, right?
Yeah, that culminated his dreams. He had won a chicken wire with Tommy a couple years ago, and then he climaxed here. I mean, that was epic for him, winning the Bauer.
And how many does Tommy have?
He has one as well.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, there was a little known person because he hasn't been around in a couple of years, but a name Ralph Selig. I don't know if he's familiar to any of you guys, but around these parts, he was the GOAT. I think he's got probably 3 chickens, 6 at least Bauers. He dominated with a couple different partners along the way too. So, we certainly miss him. There's probably not a more competitive person at the shore than that guy.
I don't know. I saw one last night, but keep going.
I don't know. I mean, if Ralph's not pegging you 3 or 4 times in a match, he doesn't think he's doing his job. So, it's all fair and love and paddle. And, we miss him. He's down in Florida, soaking up the sun. I think he's turned over to pickleball and golf.
Oof.
But I'm sure he could probably come up here and whoop up on some of us if he wanted to.
I distinctly remember watching a Tri Club final. This was years ago. Him and Richard Simmons versus you. I'm blanking on your partner for that. Was it George or? And you won.
Ellis.
You beat them. It was Ellis. And then the next year,
Yeah.
you had obviously famously asked Rich to be your partner, and he did not show up for that match. So that's an all-time story.
Yeah, is that your biggest paddle error ever?
Oof. Clearly, not even a competition. I'll rack my brain for a while. That one did it. He did take me out to Manasquan after as a repayment, so it was almost worth it.
Do you want to tell the story, the Ralph story you told me the other day?
Which one was that?
Playing for dinner?
Uh, yeah, there was. I think it was my birthday a couple of years ago. We were on a boat trip, and there's a buddy of mine, Tim McCooey, and he's pretty confident in his paddle skills, so he suckered Bob Post into a match, playing with Bobby, and I think we had a few bourbons on the boat, and he had said to me, he said, "I'll play you and whoever you want for dinner. It'll be me and Bobby." And I said, interesting. I'll take Ralph. And Ralph had already been to Florida. I don't think he was really in paddle mode. So I call Ralph up and I go, "Hey, buddy, we got a match. We have dinner at Barnacles. Loser has to buy. We're playing Timmy and Bob Post." And he said, "I'm not interested in Barnacles." He said, "You make it Copper Canyon, I'm in, or something even better." So, I mean, that's his competitive nature. If you know Ralph, the story is probably even funnier than that. But certainly that's his competition. And the guy's earned it as far as I'm concerned.
So I on the A flight, we said the Thompsons won. Was there anything else interesting in there? I see that they beat our beloved JK and Basil to get to the semis.
Yeah, it's a great win. I mean, obviously, I think Basil is, very underrated in my opinion. I think he's one of the best guys around and just doesn't have a lot of flash to his game, so might not get the credit he deserves. But him and JK are going to be really tough this year, and, I would look out for them to make a deep run.
Yep.
Last year, actually, me and Cliff played Matt in the first round, him and Pete Hurley, and a monsoon. And I think this is just a testament to how fun the tournament is. But we, got our ass beat at a monsoon at 9 a.m, and still, we're smiling from ear to ear and had a fantastic day. So there's really hard to be in a bad mood at the chicken wire, regardless of the scenario.
Yeah, to see that 6 inches of rain turn no one away. You suck it up like chicken should do. And, you just keep grinding, keep playing. Hopefully, knock on wood this year, we're looking to get suntans. We earned it after last year.
Love to see some sleeveless shirts from this panel.
Oof, never happened.
John will really be able to show off that tattoo.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll have to borrow a wife beater from Cerami. And then on the B flight, I think there were some upsets of some what I would say traditional strong teams like Hugh O'Hare and Donnie McDonald. They beat Tom Fahey and John Santos, and then they turn around and they beat John Caruso and Jimmy McGuire. I mean, those are 4 guys and 2 teams that have been around a while. I think those were 2 big upsets. And then Brian's 2 friends, I think they're both from Georgetown, beat Brian Hickey and McCooey. That was probably a surprise.
That definitely was. I think Brian and Timmy had a bye going into that too, so I think it caught everyone off guard.
Um, and what was the other one? We have Mark Thompson and Weston. We'll get into where they are this year, but um, they ended up losing to Kelly and Axt. I don't know about these seedings that we're
No,
going to get into here. There's a lot of teams that are high that they didn't make it to the quarters last year.
Not
Um,
everyone, not everyone's game translates to the rain too well.
there's
Sean,
another
so
guy, Todd
could
Axe.
have been a fluke.
Yeah.
Oof, shots fired.
Not that you winning.
Well,
some of these upsets.
you mentioned a guy, back there, Todd Axe. I mean, here's another guy who won just about everything. He and Bobby Weiss, as far as the granddaddy of them all. I think he's got 5 or 6 Bowers, to his name. So he's won just about every tennis tournament ever played at Seabright. And I know, it's fantastic, to see him still out there grinding, beating up on some of these younger guys. As one of the older guys in the tournament, I'm firmly in his camp and rooting for him.
He played tennis at Duke, I think, and he has grass tennis titles over at Seabright too. His hands are ridiculous. I went to blitz on him a couple weeks ago, and he just effortlessly volleyed it on an angle right behind me, and I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again. I mean, his hands are ridiculous, right, Ches?
He might have froze.
The first paddle tournament the first Bower I played, it was 8 a.m. We were staring at the sun warming up, and we played Todd and Pete Dixon, 2 of the biggest forehands at the time that I'd still maybe. And then you put his hands and his I mean, so to really.
Chaz, I think all your trophies are messing with your Wi-Fi.
Yeah. All the aluminum in there. He sounds like Fitzsimmons at Val's last year.
Oh God! Before or after he threw the drink at Cliffy.
Yeah, a drink that he snuck into the bar, by the way. It wasn't even a purchased beer.
Thankfully, he Ubered home that night.
Poor Uber driver.
Left his phone in the Uber.
Well, when Ches comes back, we'll hear about the Van Axt story. But I'm also looking
to go off that axe. I mean, Bobby Weiss played tennis at University of Maryland, and I know he's played the 65 plus tournament that Seabright holds, the tennis tournament in the summer. So, he's a legend of racket sports, and he plays on our state league team. And just about every hut we go to, people know him, have stories about him, or asking about him. So, I think both of them, have been around for a while. And if you've played paddle, in the past 20 or 30 years, you should know who they are.
Ches, you went out. You were telling us about the Dixon. Playing Pete Dixon and Axe with two of the biggest forehands, and then you froze. Perfect timing.
Brian, it's not just having one thing. Am I freezing again?
You are.
Awesome. I think maybe I'll try for my phone.
Or you can you can do that, or you could shut down your video. Sometimes helps. Well, while we're waiting on him, I just want to point out two guys local to you, Luke. If you look at the B bracket, Cerami was able to get by Jubb and Breezer with Terwilliger, and then they lost to Caruso and McGuire. It's a tough second round loss.
That is. And, Don is a great player. He lived up in Mendham, played at Springbrook for a ton of years and played in the A division, B division, C division for a while. So he's, really helped our team out and has shown Paul and a lot of other guys kind of how to play paddle. So I think that with perfect conditions this year, if Don and Paul are in there, that they'll fare pretty well.
Okay, so just so we're clear, you're blaming the poor showing based on rain, and some people's games translate to rain and other people's don't.
Well, not everyone gives themselves a pep talk about being a gamer, you know, that you did and goes on to winning. Not everyone's got that dog in them like you do.
Oh
But,
God.
you know, I think these two are a formidable team and could have a great little run.
Jez, you there?
Yeah, I signed into my phone.
Perfect.
Is it?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
You got to disconnect on your computer.
All right. Peace out.
Is he bailing?
Yeah, I canceled out of the computer.
Perfect.
You sound great now.
Yeah, you're perfect. So all right, go back. We got to finish the story. Axed, Dixon, big forehands.
Yeah, so Doug Ross and I are staring in the sun and warming up, and they're just hitting bomb forehands at 8 a.m. You know, I think we were quickly dispatched 6-0, 6-0, and it was a very humbling experience. But when you look at the board, you know, you see, you know, Todd's won a bunch, Pete's won a few, and these were, you know, local legends. These were, you know, preeminent Bauer players. So, you know, it started my path in the right way. You know, I wanted to get better. I wanted to compete with these guys, you know, and it wasn't just their forehands, you know, it was Todd being able to, you know, hit a good volley, as you said, coming in behind you. If you were out of place, you know, he was going to expose you. You know, and that's what these good players are doing. You got to find that little edge. I haven't been playing paddle all that long, but, you know, what I have seen is, you know, this game go to another level pretty quickly. What I think is really cool. You know, some may think it's a little boring, very nuanced, but watching, you know, what some of you young people are doing, and, you know, Luke, you're very creative with your spins. You know, I don't think that spin stuff was around a few years ago. So, you know, these are new things, you know, that are making this game a little bit better.
I love it. Ches, when did people start spinning on overheads? How long ago? 5 years ago?
You know, in this area, you know, I remember when Andre, the pro at Seabright, started playing. So it wasn't that long ago. And no one really had it. If you did, it was almost by accident. You know, now people are trying it. Obviously, Cutter's Rule, a little shout out.
Thank you.
Certainly helped. You know, when you get some notoriety for a cool little cutter, and, you know, all the clubs now have cameras, so you know, that's pretty neat. You know, I still think about, you know, some of the people that you've featured, how they talk about it, you know, how psyched they are to be on it, as a cool little shout out to them. I haven't been on it yet for any spin, because I can't hit any spin or top spin for that matter. So I probably will never be featured. But you know, there's certainly the young guys, you know, Tommy Mack, you know, as a lefty, he provides a different angle of spin. I know, you know, Luke's got a pretty good nasty serve with a lot of spin on it too. So, you know, this is the future.
Nobody's crying for your lack of spin, Ches, with that trophy room you've got at home. And
no, I get it, but, you know, you guys are going to be spinning me like a top off the court soon. So I'm going to have to find another sport, maybe go the way of Mr. Selig, and pick up, you know, another sport like cornhole or something.
Chelsea, you've already been featured on Cutter's Rule too. Do not forget that.
Yeah, but it wasn't for a cutter.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to be on like a lob montage.
The lob monster.
Exactly. I'm right with
Sean
you,
got a good,
Chaz. I don't have spin in my repertoire yet.
yeah. Sean got a good clip of
You're
you
still,
last night, Cliff. Don't worry.
Oh, I saw.
you're
I still
young.
feel it.
Um, all right. Do we want to get into some bracket reveals here?
I think we should. We're gonna start
I've
with
been
the
in
A,
my
Sean, or
bracket
what?
bunker all day.
The bracket bunker.
Cliff Lunardi.
So let's start with bottom of B. Sound good?
Bottom of B, sure.
All right.
And
So is that the one with that we're both in, Sean?
correct. So
So
we'll
it looks
start.
like me and Cliff have been given a bye. So I think we greased Ches a little with some gift cards to dinner, but it worked out because we have to play one less match now.
Yeah,
So
that's off.
you're the third seed. Looking at this, right?
Yeah,
And then you play the winner of John Kelly and Todd Axe that we just talked about versus Jimmy McGuire and Brett Flynn. Two solid teams. Um, and you get to sit there and wait and see who shows up.
yeah. Jim took me down in the Rumson member guest. Him and Ches did in a really fun semifinal match. So he's obviously a great player, and Brett, we played him in that tournament also, and I think he had a great run in the Seabright member that you had played in, Sean, or was that the member guest actually? So that'll be a fun first round matchup.
He's got a big forehand.
Yeah,
So who let's just say I'm picking McGuire and Flynn.
yeah. I think sort of by default I will because I haven't seen their opponents play as much, but yeah, I know they're a super solid team, and I would expect them to win a few matches in this tournament.
And then would you want to just continue down the bracket here?
Yeah, the next one would actually be your first round matchup. So Sean, he's actually playing with my brother Pete, and then you are playing Quinn Senior and Quinn Junior, a fan favorite team for sure. So you might not have a lot of fans rooting for you in that first round matchup.
Quinn and Quinn Senior won the member a couple years ago. It was an unbelievable moment watching father and son partner together and win that. And it was an epic game. Um, I'll just say, you want to talk about spin? My partner has more than enough to throw anybody's way, and that's one of the many reasons why I chose him as a partner. In fact, he was my part. He was supposed to be my partner last year, but he ended up getting COVID, which is when I turned to the local high school.
At tryouts. I'm gonna make a pick there. I love Quinn Jr. Obviously, his game has gotten so much better, I think, and he's super solid. But I'm gonna have to take the CEO and creative director of Cutter's Rule and my brother in that first round matchup.
Going chalk here.
Yeah. Should we move down the line here, Sean? Or do you anything you want to say about that first round matchup you'll be a part of? You're muted, Sean.
Nope. Quinn Jr. is unbelievable. He gets to everything. He is one of the quickest releases on his forehand, a wicked two-hand backhand. Quinn Sr., when his drive is on, forget about it. He's lefty and he can pull it down the line. And honestly, when his drive is on, it's very similar to your brother Pete Tosick. It's got a lot of pace, it's flat, and it somehow stays in the court. So that's going to be a tough matchup, and I think it's a pick 'em. Then you got Tom Fahey and Derek Debray, again, two Royal Rackets families locally versus Gedney and is that his brother Jeff Ches?
Yes.
I've never seen. I know Gedney's a good tennis player. I've never seen either one of them play, but we're talking a 6 versus a 27 seed. I think you obviously got to go with Tom and Derek.
Oh, little known trivia about Derek. He's one of, or the only national champion in paddle in our area.
Oh wow, I didn't know
Um,
that.
Yeah,
What did he
and
win?
his mom was as well. I think his mom, she may be in the Paddle Hall of Fame, but I don't know that. I know she's won a couple titles. You know, but yeah, Derek was the 12 and under champion in I think it was 1983 or 82, something like that.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And he beat you know, one of the participants that we'll be talking about a little later on the bottom of this draw. One Mr. David Goldsmith in that epic final, which is still talked about in the hallowed halls of the, you know, Seabright Clubhouse.
Wow.
See,
If
this is
there's
why we
any
have
footage of
Ches.
that, we need it.
This is why we have Ches.
Chaz, what were you doing in 1983?
You don't want to know. I think I had a little run in at Rumson Country Day, so we tried to blank that.
He was running wheel routes.
I wish.
Then we've got Mark Thompson, and I don't know Weston's first name, but he's a North Carolina guy with a 7.5 PTI. I don't know if that's a New Jersey 7.5 or a North Carolina 7.5, but they did lose to Axton Kelly last year. I'm going to point out in the rain, since Luke has pointed that out on several of these matches that we talk matchups. But that was an epic match, and Thompson and Weston are really tough. They're young and they get absolutely everything back. And then they're going against Chuck Antonin, who also is young. He's a superior athlete. He's a phenomenal golfer. You can tell his hand-eye coordination is incredible. And then you got Peter Hagberg, who is my partner sometimes. He's a lefty. Again, ridiculous hands, can volley. That's a tough match there. And quite frankly, I would have said it would have been more like a 14-19. Not to, and we did this based on PTI, right, Ches? So it is what it is.
Yes.
But that's a super close matchup there. I'm gonna go with Thompson Weston.
Yeah. Peter had a great run in the Rumson member guest too. I think he played with George Billington and they made it all the way to the final. So, he really stood up well that day and, he's gotten a ton of balls and played well. So that was, encouraging heading into this. I'm not as familiar with Mark's partner, but, I've played Mark before and he's, as you said, really athletic and gets everything. So I think that it will be a much closer match than, a typical 7 versus 26 matchup. But I think I might be staying with the chalk here and go Thompson and Weston.
Chaz, doesn't Antonin have some tennis blood in him? Wasn't his mother a phenomenal player?
You're asking the wrong guy.
I stumped the historian.
No, are you thinking Katarina?
I don't know. I thought there was a young guy is he a Rumson guy?
Yeah, that's Toby Ryan.
All right.
Yeah, different guy. Same. You're on point. They're both young, same age, and at Rumson. And then
I think it's
go ahead.
interesting. Mark, he's from progeny of a local legend, Scott Thompson. Scott has always been on the paddle community. There's no bigger cheerleader than Mark's father, Scott, as far as his enthusiasm and his love for paddle. It's too bad he can't be out here, but I think a couple years ago, I think he went out winning the B flight. He and Bobby Weiss, and to see the joy on their faces winning, was epic, and that's what I think is so special about this. To see Mark coming into his own, starting to play a ton. He's got all the skills. Great athlete, and he's got his dad's genes. And you pair him off with a super sneaky 7.5 from Charlotte, who also was very generous and donated the balls that we'll be using this weekend. So shout out to Westy for that. I think that's an incredible donation on his part. So there are going to be some people in the back office of the Chicken Wire, rooting for that kind of person. who is that selfless to donate that. So, it's a great matchup, certainly.
Yeah, Scotty T's a legend in the after party too, especially if the Haven starts playing Mustang Sally. He'll get up there and
Oh,
sing with the best of them.
yeah, he'll be there, full voice.
We lost, by the way, that my first chicken wire 2 years ago. Pete and I lost to them, Scotty T and Bob
Yeah, on their way to their run.
on their way to run. Uh, Here's an interesting duo. You got Jack Riker and TK Smith. I don't know
I
much.
think you skipped one match, Sean.
Sorry.
We didn't go over Hugh O'Hare and Donnie Mack, their first round match.
You're right. We've got again one of my former partners, Hugh O'Hare, super solid, big guy, plays the game the way it's supposed to be played. Donnie McDonald, I call him the Berlin Wall. It doesn't matter what you throw at him, he's getting it back. It's just he's ridiculous. And I did find out recently that he was a squash player, which does make sense because not only is Donnie consistent in getting everything back, but sometimes he's getting balls that are so low and he just flicks them out, and it's got to be the squash. And they're playing Oberdor and a gentleman I don't know, Carre.
I don't know either, but I know Eric used to play a lot up here. His dad was one of the people that I started playing paddle with years ago. He was at, I believe, Navasink and Seabright. He was always out there, and Eric was following in his shoes. But we don't get to see Eric very much anymore. So good to see him come up for this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Hugh and Donnie are, two of the nicest guys out there, and both, are great players, get everything back. If you're calling Donnie the Berlin Wall, though, I think after that Shore League final match, my boy Cerami might be Gorbachev.
So I looked up Overdorf. The last time he played was November of 2013, and his partner was Cano. Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'm not surprised. But he play. He might have some rust to shake off, but that's part of this tournament. At least it's not raining. He can warm up a lot quicker at 70 degrees than 40 and cold and rain.
Definitely. I think for this match, obviously I don't know their opponents as well, but I'm gonna take Hugh and Donnie. I think they're so consistent, and you have to maintain your focus on every point and every shot to beat them because they're not going to give you any free points. So I think they're going to be a tough out in this tournament like they were last year.
Totally. And then next up, you got Jack Riker, who I've lost to multiple times. Super athletic, blitzes, uses his athleticism, gets to everything. And I mean this very lovingly, Jack, you're an absolute pain in the ass to play against. And he's playing with TK Smith. And I did text Jack because I don't know TK, but TK won the B flight, I think, over at Rumson, so he can play as well. And then I think they're playing two of Brian's Georgetown guys. Is that right, Ches? Pizziola and Sumpernon?
Yeah. They're going to be sneaky. I think Jake was a lax player, as a few of these guys are. So, you're going to see these guys get gritty, fearless. Mike's had that in the past. He brought down a good partner for the last couple of years. So he's on to a new partner here, but he's certainly not losing anything as far as athleticism. Everything can come back. This group is probably one that are notorious for diving. I don't know who dives on paddle courts anymore, but certainly it wouldn't be above them or below them to get that done to win a point. I guess that's the Hoya way. I don't think the Hoyas have been any good since Pat Ewing left, but so
the Catholic University of America runs DC. Thank you very much.
There you go. I'd love to hear that story about the Pope's throne there too again, but
I think we're already running
Saving
over.
that one for confession.
And then the number 2 seed, we've got David Goldsmith, who we've already referenced before. Grew up with a paddle court in his backyard. Absolute beautician, lovely guy. I mean, who's better than Goldie? Who doesn't like Goldie?
He's a Cutter's Rule favorite, that's for sure.
He is,
I
and
mean, he should be a Cutter's Rule model.
we should do a trailer with Goldie as featured.
We're actually trying to appeal to the common man, so we can't have a guy looking like that, wearing this stuff. It might discourage some people.
Well,
And he's got game. I mean, he plays a game with a flair too, and that's why I love playing with him any chance I get. He's playing with Christian Eriksen, aka the Viking, all 6'3" of them. That's a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they're definitely going to make a long journey in the tournament, and will be a tough out for just about anyone in that, B division. So they are, I'd say a lot of people will be putting their money on them to win the whole thing.
I don't know if anyone's hit more balls on the volley machine than Christian. Certainly he's playing all the time. So there's no reason that you should be looking over him. And then Dave Goldsmith, he's got the best hands that I probably have ever seen. His hand-eye coordination is just off the charts. So, definitely keep an eye on them. When they get rolling, they're going to be hard to stop.
And
Definitely.
part and parcel to that, and this is not a comment specifically on Goldie or Erickson, but has anybody noticed that the PTIs over at Navasink don't always correlate to level? Seems like the PTIs are deflated a little bit, kind of across the club. It's not anybody in particular.
Yeah, I think
What do you
Goldie's
mean by-
lower than what he is. Like Goldie's like a 30 something. I think he's definitely at least a mid to low 20s player.
He's an anomaly. I'm saying everybody else's PTIs are lower than probably where they are over at Navasink. I know that's a hot take. It's a hot take.
Well, I maybe they have a pro that is vocally championing their game. As a should do. Navasink's won a couple of these flights. Granted, they played with with Lucas, and Victor. Certainly, it helps, but PTI is I'm sure that you've talked about it in the past, is an imperfect metric, but still, you need it. Very helpful for tournaments like this to do have PTI to go on.
That's why me and Sean are excited for, the episode we did with Damian Johnson, who's kind of the godfather of the current PTI system. And he kind of goes over all that stuff and answers a lot of questions. So when that releases, there will be a lot of good stuff about how, tournaments, the PTI is kind of based on trying to get the best matches possible for the most amount of players and not really to rank players, from 1 to 100. But keep your eyes out for that episode dropping soon.
Do we want to skip to the quarters?
Well, how about should we go through the other first round matchups in B quickly, and then we'll kind of give our picks for the winners?
Fair.
So the other half here, I think the number 1 overall seed is Spiro and Morgan. Not familiar with, is Morgan from local or who is that?
He plays
From
for Muni, Morristown.
No, I think he's from Maplewood.
Is he?
Yeah, but he's solid. He's played in some tournaments down here in the past. Jay picked well. They'll be very tough.
Look at this.
You're right, Maplewood.
2 for the price
Evans
of 1.
Brothers.
Heyo.
Let's go, baby. Let's talk some bracket. The bracket breakdown here.
We're right in the middle of doing the B division bracket right now. So if you guys have it in front of you, we're doing the half
I'll get it up.
that Spiro and Morgan are in.
You guys keep
Louis.
going. Well,
So we got Spiro and Morgan.
They
Right.
have a bye, and then they would be facing the winner of Fahey Debris versus Powalski. And who is he playing with?
Brian Hickey.
Ryan Hickey.
Hickey.
So this is the sons of Tom and Derek, who were mentioned in the other half of the bracket. So, these guys are the next generation. Again, super athletic, and they're learning the game. But when you're an athlete like that, they're also going to be very tough.
I'm going to say most of Navasink doesn't really compete very well in the chicken wire. I don't see them usually winning anything.
Shots.
Sean is really hammering Navasink.
You guys just missed him talking about how their PTIs are all too low over at Navasink. So
That's a
he's
fact.
taking some shots tonight.
Well, they're all the top teams of the B flight, right?
They are. It's very controversial.
How so?
I just, it's based on PTI. I understand we need a metric to seed, but there's got to be a little bit of intuition here in terms of who really should be. But it's fine. I mean, I don't think that if you were going to seed this tournament, I don't think Spiro Morgan would be number one.
He might get sued.
I've never seen Morgan play. So that's your big problem is they're the one seed.
No,
Spiro's a nice player.
He's good. Nice guy.
I think Sean's looking for more weight to go into past champions with the seeding from what it sounds like.
No. I would put you and Cliff number one if I was seeding it. If I was seeding just based on eyeball test.
Sean, didn't you beat Cliff and Luke last night?
Why am I surprised that news has made its way around the Jersey Shore paddle scene?
Pretty quick.
I think I got a text from Severance within 10 minutes of it ending.
I've got some video, Brian, if you want it.
I love it. Please.
Um,
So what do you think the big first round matchups in the B are? Ben's got it here in front of us.
Yeah, good question. I mean, Sean and Pete playing the McKeons will be a good one. I think that who was it? Brett Hall had a good first round match, and McGuire versus Axe and Kelly that we kind of went over. And then there's a few we don't know, like Mark Thompson and Weston. I think will be a good one versus Hagberg. And then
you have background on Weston. Do you guys know about him at all or no?
Ches has a little bit of a background on him.
Yeah. He grew up in Jersey and he's obsessed with the game. And he's down in Raleigh. And I looked him up the other day and it's a 7.5 PTI. So it'll be interesting to see his kind of how that translates.
What?
Yeah. 7.5 Raleigh. So I don't know. They could be a sneaky team, and Mark's very good.
A 7.5 Raleigh's like 18 from Jersey though, right?
I think we put him as kind of a 20. That was kind of the thought, but who knows? We could be wrong. He's a competitor. He also donated all the balls, so he's going to be on a high from that. So I think they could be a sneaky team for sure.
It's like my stepdaughter said. She went to school in rural Ohio and then moved to New York. She's like, I was like a 9 in Ohio, and then I came to New York, and I'm like a 6. That's a problem.
What an analogy that is.
Not touching that. Ches is smart having his camera off.
Weston and Thompson lost to Kelly and Axe last year, though. I watched that match. It was epic. I think it went to a tiebreaker. And I'm picking Mark and Weston to go far, but I don't know. I mean, they lost to Kelly and Axe. That was a surprise to me last year.
Mark has played a ton this year, so
I think my favorite matchup in the B is Steckroth, Casey Sullivan, aka the Slim Reaper, versus Jubb and Lord Breezer Stevens. I think that's must watch.
I agree. That's what I was looking at too, Cliff.
I think Casey Sullivan is one of the most underrated players in the Two Rivers. Epic lobber, gets everything back. He's like a velociraptor out there. He's so rangy and tall.
Slim Reaper. He's
Trying
like
to get
Kevin Durant on a paddle court.
Slim Reaper.
Shout out to Casey too. Me and him lived in the same college house our senior year, I think 20 years apart at Fairfield University, but it was fun figuring that out. And, obviously like the paddle world, all these connections are, it's only a few degrees of separation for everyone pretty much.
Did he leave something in the house that you discovered? Like, how did you figure that one out?
No, we just were talking about going to Fairfield and, brought it up when we played last year. But Sean, do you want to kind of just run through the rest of these first round matchups so we can release them and then do a few, picks or
You go. You talk faster than me.
Okay. Next matchup would be Bailey Davis and JB Hall versus John Flynn and Kevin Reed. Shout out John Flynn and Kevin Reed, two Seagirt legends that live about 100 yards away from me each. So I'll be pulling for those guys, but that's going to be a tall task for them in that first round.
Former B-Flight winners, JB and Bailey, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
They've got a patch.
I think Ben and Brian, you guys are somehow related to John Flynn, right?
Through marriage.
Yeah. Then moving down, Hackett and Sambinos, which, I think is a team to watch out for. They're both super solid. Steve beat me in a great match this year in the Shore League. And, Hackett is, I think, one of the better volleyers around and just a super solid player overall. So they're playing Skurkanic and Browndorf. So I'm probably going to go with Hackett and Sabinos there. It's an 8 versus 25 matchup. And they're a team I would say to look out for and could definitely upset someone.
Which leaves, I don't want to get ahead, a great matchup between Bailey, JB, Hackett, and Sambinos. That's going to be a war.
Yeah, that will be one of the matches of the whole draw, I think.
I might call an upset on the Browndorf Skurkanic thing. I'll be honest. I think that's going to go 3 sets at least.
I would agree that that's going to go the distance there. I'm surprised to see them as a 25 seed.
Yeah, that's an ugly 25 seed. They must have done something wrong over the year, to get that level seeding.
Can I weigh in on this? Because I played Browndorf and Skurkanic in the second round of last year, and we started at probably 9 a.m. and Browndorf was absolutely shit-faced. So that's the wild card. That's the wild.
This is a first round matchup, so hopefully he got a good night rest and doesn't put anything in his coffee. But yeah,
Sean's gonna have a fucking target on his back when he shows up Saturday.
Well, nobody can recognize him with the glasses, so he'll be fine.
If Spiro doesn't kill him Friday night at the Hen,
He's going to need a cup and a chest protector for his chicken wire matches.
We finally just got the most updated bracket here. I was looking at an older bracket, so now we're live on the current matchups.
Perfect. Next one we were going down was Kivany and Sergio versus Burns and is that Strain, I believe?
Kevin Strain, yeah.
Obviously, I think Kivany's a great player. I've played him a few times before. But anyone, have a pick for that one either way?
You got to pick Kivany and Sergio. Sergio is an insane rackets guy. He's learning the game of paddle, but it just doesn't matter. I mean, he's so explosive on the court. I think that's a done deal. It's Kivany and Sergio.
Cool. Moving down, Hickey and Frankovic versus Severance and Miller. Obviously Frankovic has played a lot with you, Sean. He's getting just better and better, so they'll definitely be a team to watch out for. And maybe the Severances want to chime in about that match.
Yeah, we'll see. My buddy has never played paddle, so it's going to be a tricky one. He's played tennis probably 14 times in his life. He's got his first paddle match at probably 3 p.m. Friday that we'll do a tester on, and we'll see how it goes. It'll be interesting. He does play with power, I'll say, but yeah, we'll have our hands full. And
he's an athlete.
He is an athlete. Yeah.
He's an
All-American lacrosse player in college. So I think there's some skill there, and we'll just try to get it out of him. And I'm a head case, and so we'll just find out what happens.
I guess right to the fire to start.
I got some good intel offline for you on that, Ben.
What's offline at this point?
All right.
Everything. Why pull a punch here?
When Hickey's at the net, go at him hard. Just keep going at him over and over again. He'll be on the service.
That's my special sauce, is going at somebody hard. So
there you go.
I don't have any issue there.
He'll be on the service line by the third game.
But I would love to see you get past that and play Kivany Sergio in the second round. That could be a storyline for sure.
Me too.
Definitely. Then just the last first round matchup would be Tom Steckroth and Casey Sullivan versus Justin Leddy and Breezer. Those are 4 fan favorites, I would say. But I'm going with Steckroth and Casey. I think they're just super solid. Leddy has a ton of weapons in his game. and he can make things difficult for them. But I think that they just have a little bit too much consistency for those two, and we'll pull that one out.
So you're saying Breeze can't handle his end of the bargain in that pairing?
No, not necessarily what I'm saying, but I think that he'll probably be letting Letty go wild out there and play kind of a setup role.
And then for the bye, we got another legend, Walter O'Connor, Notre Dame tennis, Timmy McCooey, who is the reigning member guest champ at Navasink, Ches.
Yeah, he's another legend, tennis legend in his own mind. Yeah, it should be interesting. I mean, Walter's won just about every title there is to win, so good pairing for them. It'll be interesting to see how they do against some of the younger folk if chalk holds in that second round. But certainly coming off a bye will be beneficial for them.
Definitely. So those are all the first round matchups, and we kind of went over all the seeds. So maybe we'll just go around the horn here and, maybe pick a winner for everyone, pick a winner, and maybe one match that you're looking for. Ches, if you have the bracket in front of you, do you maybe want to take a stab at picking a winner and maybe one match?
Winner overall?
Yeah, for the B flight.
Interesting. I'm going to go full wild card with Mark Thompson and Weston.
Love it.
I like underdogs. I went to the University of Richmond. We were the first 15 to beat a 2. So not quite that bad, but, a 7 seed. I think they're young. This kid, if he's got game, he's going to be a real wild card because Mark certainly gets him back. So if there's any weapon, that's going to be an awfully tough team to face. But they're going to have to run a gauntlet to get there.
Definitely.
So, but as everyone is, I think, Brian had the idea this year to really load up, some of these brackets and feature, some of these teams. So if you come out of the B this year, that's going to be a monumental task. You're going to have to play solid matches all day long. And I think that's cool. And that's probably, more fan friendly, than any. They're dangerous enough athletically and skill wise. So they're going to be fun to watch, but that would just be a guess that I would have.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a loaded field this year in the B and, would rival many A tournaments, in the state. I think all of us are playing in the B besides Brian. So maybe we can hand it over to Brian for a possible pick and maybe a match he's looking out for.
I am just looking at this and I'm so pumped. I wish I could watch all these matches because I think it's like so tight and there's so many people that can win.
Agreed.
I've talked to a ton of people and everyone's like, Luke's gonna win. I've never played with you, Luke, but everyone's high on Luke. I am also high on you. But I think Cavini and Sergio are going to be tough, right? Sergio is an actual tennis pro, which is like the lamest excuse in the book. Oh, he's never played paddle, but he is a tennis pro. So I assume he's going to get better and better as the day goes on.
Gonna have to pelt him with a ball then.
Yeah, unless Ben takes off his head in the second round, which is an actual possibility. I like Cavini and Sergio winning the Masters here, or the B flight, whatever we're calling it.
It's hard to hear as your brother, but fine.
The waste management, as we referred to, or as you referred to it earlier in the day. But then I guess just some of the matches we were saying, the second round matchup, Hackins and Beanos versus Bailey and JB Hall would be a really good one. The first round match of Steckroth and Casey versus Letty and Breezer will be good. And then whoever plays Walter and Tim, will, after that will be a really fun one. So a lot of matches to look for.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. JB and Bailey have won this flight before, I think twice. So they're a very strong team. But to Chez's point, it was fun to make the A a little bit smaller and kind of pump up the B. So I mean, there's 8 teams that can win this thing, which is so fun. But anyway, that's my pick.
Yeah, no, I agree. That makes it way more fun for everyone that's there watching and even playing. That there's a lot of teams that have a chance and it can kind of go any way.
Has anybody ever won the A and B? Could I be the first player to win the A?
Oh, you
debate?
have. Ben just wanted to plug himself,
Yeah.
but he has one again.
He's trying to get a little credit in this crowd.
Yeah. Wow.
With
Maybe yeah, it could be
Yeah,
you this
I
year.
mean, yeah, don't remember Bobby Post as being the best player I've ever seen, but
I like the matchup of Thompson Weston potentially against Goldie and the Viking
Yeah.
in the quarters.
Definitely. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And then, I think we have a chance to face each other, Sean, me and Cliff versus you and my brother. So co-hosts versus my co-host and my brother would be a lot of fun.
You know how hard it
There'd be-
is in sports. The toughest thing is beating the same team 2 times in a row. So, I told you we're like the USA 1980 Olympic team. You win that match last night 9 times out of 10.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I think you're thinking got to be 3 times in a row. Get twice done.
Yeah.
There'll be some blood on that one. That'll be good. I've seen the Severance each other. I'd like to see the brothers Taussig go at it. That would be fun.
Yeah.
everyone's seen that enough.
yeah, Cavini and Sergio are going to be solid then. Where's Sergio Pro at?
He's not at a club. He's a teaching pro out, on demand. But
He's a big
Sergio-
Padel player, right, Sean?
he plays Padel. The kid is absolutely explosive. He gets from one corner of the court to the net in like in the blink of an eye. He's an insane athlete. I played Goldie had a pickle tournament during the summer. I had never played pickle in my life, and we beat like so many guys. We beat Goldie and Christian Eriksen in the final. He's like, just stand aside. It was basically 2-on-1. He beat Goldie and Christian Eriksen and pickle 2-on-1. He's insane.
Does Cavini play the forehand or the backhand there?
He's a lefty. He plays on the deuce side.
Okay.
That hasn't been mentioned. There's a lot of left flight.
There is. Hagberg is a lefty. Pete's a lefty.
Quinn's a lefty. Sergio's a lefty.
Yep.
Cavani also.
Unusual.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sergio's, they're both lefties?
Who's
I'm
that?
surprised you're not my own competition here if we get there.
Yeah.
But interesting. I don't think I've ever played against 2 lefties.
I might have. I agree with Brian. I think Keavney and Sergio are the pick.
That's saying that Ben's going out early. I don't know about that, so we'll have to see.
I just don't know Ben's partner. That's the.
No, I mean, you don't know Ben either. I'm a complete wild card that usually doesn't fare well in racket games.
Sounds like your partner's like a ball of clay, and you're going to mold him this Friday starting at 3 p.m.
I like that. I'll try my best.
Yeah. Sean, do you want to kind of move it along to the A here, which is, obviously a much smaller bracket, kind of run through it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So the 1 seed in the A is the Thompson brothers, the defending champions, who have had a great run of paddle the past however many, 18 months or 2 years. So they're going to obviously be super tough. And then their first round matchup is against Brian and Stu McIntyre. The first round matchup is Brian and Stu McIntyre versus Herbie Coons and Grayson McConnell to get to them. Grayson's, a really good player, young dude, lives in the Parker House, above the Parker House every summer, which is a fun fact for him. But he won 15 plus nationals, I think last year or the year before. So he's a very capable player. And obviously Herbie's been around forever and a super solid player. So that's going to be a great first round matchup. Stu gets to everything. And obviously, Brian's a great player and has, had a great year in the A-League for Seabright in some of these tournaments. So I think that's going to be an interesting one to watch. If I had to make a pick for that, I'm going to take Brian and Stu. I think they're a good team, and Stu can get to everything, and Brian can kind of end some points for them. But Sean, who do you got in that first round matchup?
Same thing. Andre told me last year that nobody's worked harder on their game and improved like Brian. So when you pair him with a pit bull like Stu, who just fucking never goes away, he's probably the greatest guy and the most annoying player to play against in the history of paddle. He just never goes away.
Points never over.
No.
There's a video.
Stu hit one of the greatest golf shots I've ever witnessed. Remember that, Brian?
He's an athlete. I do. Yeah. I mean, he's good at paddle too. He gets everything back, and like you're saying, Sean, he doesn't die.
No. I mean, I lost to him and Scotty Applegate, I don't know, about a month ago, and it really gets in your head because he just gets these balls where you're like the point's over and then all of a sudden it's back. I mean, he's insane. So I'm going Brian and Stu on that one.
Cliff, do you want to set the scene for the greatest golf shot you've ever seen, or are we just gonna breeze past that?
I don't know if Brian remembers.
I wanted to help you out there, but I had no clue. And then I was like, I remember playing golf with you two, but that's about it.
It was more of a knock on the shot itself. It was really cute though. It made a cute little sound.
Oh, yes, that's great. I like the cutest little sound. Oh God, that was great.
That's hilarious.
I've never played Grayson, and Herbie's obviously, an amazing paddle player. He's played for a long time. Stu and I will have not been clicking the last 2 weeks, so I think that could be a tight one. We'll see.
Yeah, they're definitely a formidable adversary, and if you don't focus, they could definitely take you out. But I think it's gonna be a great match either way. Then moving up the bracket,
Herbie dropped a lot of weight, right?
He did. Yeah, he's a shell of his former self, but he's looking good.
Was that natural or helped?
I don't know. I mean,
asking as a fat guy.
Yeah, I should inquire into that also.
Is Ozempic a sponsor now, or
Ozempic, the official sponsor for Cutter's Rule?
That'd be huge. But moving up the bracket here, Tommy McDonald and Rogers versus Bauer and Roberto. Obviously, Tommy, there's an argument to be made that he'll be the best player there on Saturday, and he's just, a fantastic player and one of the best players, in this area. So always hard to pick against him. I'm not too familiar with his partner, but, I think that I would have to just, bet on Tommy because I'm not going to bet against him.
Chezzy, can you weigh in? Because I miss Shane Rogers playing, as I've only been playing paddle basically three years. What's he's a good player, right?
Yeah, I think Shane and I lost a couple of these things in the finals. One to my man Ralph Selig in a chicken suit, so that was really embarrassing and humbling. But Shane doesn't play much anymore. He's got 3 kids that are in the sports hell, but he certainly has a forehand. So Tommy's going to probably let him unleash it. There's going to be times where Tommy's going to get every ball as usual. And then, Shane's going to get a forehand to tee up on. So as long as he's got his shoes tied and a Bud Light in his hand, I think he'll be just fine.
All right, so we're picking T-Mac, obviously, and Shane, right?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah, Stevie and Mike, they won the B flight a couple years ago. They're out there to play. Stevie's another one of those G-Town guys. Don't sell them short. They're going to compete.
Yeah.
I would imagine probably going to give T-Mac a chair. And, Shane's going to see a lot of balls. He's got to have to stay fresh. So, but, conventional wisdom is probably going to play T-Mac as far as moving on.
Yeah. And the winner of that match, is rewarded with a date with the legend Matt Cheslock in the second round there, who has a first round bye. Ches, do you want to maybe give a shout out to your partner here?
Yeah, that's the Slim Reaper's brother. So he's another lefty coming out from Fairmont. So he's got some good tutelage from Blake Anderson. But he's crafty, sneaky, certainly quiet. But, it's good having a lefty, a little bit of difference that we're going to see. So it'll be good. I'm excited to play with him. I played some pickle with him. We played in a paddle tournament years ago, a tri club up north. So I'm excited for Mike to come down.
Chess, did you see this to give yourself a bye, or how did that work out?
PTI. This is easy. It'd probably be better if we didn't have a bye so we could play together. But
yeah, sure.
But I'm old, so I'll take the bye.
Love it. And then the next team with the bye, the 3 seed, is J.K. Thompson and Basel. That is a team I think is one to watch out for. And obviously J.K. is such a good player. And Basel, as I said before, I think is, one of the most solid guys around and doesn't get enough credit. So, they're going to be tough. And the teams that'll be playing in the first round for a date with them are Matt Resnikoff, a Cutter's Rule favorite, and Pat Haggerty, also a Cutter's Rule favorite, versus who are they playing? Caruso and Eric
Matusky.
Eric. Yeah.
Who was an absolute yard sale, either last chicken wire or the chicken wire before. They found his keys and wallet and all sorts of shit behind the bullseye. He was absolutely loaded, which was fantastic. But anyway, I think JK feels like he let Basel down last year, so I think he's going to come out gunning. Just an FYI, I think that he is. He felt he didn't hold his end of the bargain last year when they lost to the Thompsons. Haggerty.
Let's not. JK's got a tendency to do that. You got to lug him around. He's a lot of dead wood sometimes.
It's a miracle you won this with him a few years ago, Chaz.
Bob's got his work cut out for him.
So that first round matchup, obviously Pat Haggerty is, one of the best players around as well, and has just gotten better and better, and one of the nicest guys also. So it's going to be hard to pick against Pat and Rez, in that first round matchup. And then, they'll have a great match versus JK and Baz, possibly, if they make it there. But obviously, Caruso and Eric are good players and can give anyone a run for their money.
Matusky's got the lowest PTI, by the way, on that court.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Well, yeah. Not in Rez's head.
Heyo. All right. Next.
And then the last first round matchup is Bobby Post and Ernie Kier versus Rafa and Doug Ross. Ernie, a legend, love him. He's the spin doctor out there, and I don't think anyone goes for it as much as he does, and he has everything in his bag. And Bobby's obviously one of the best players around, so I think that I'm going to have to go with them, and they're just a really tough team that could make some noise in this draw.
Agreed.
You guys want to maybe give a pick here? It's such a short, I think however many teams are there, 12 or 16 teams, so we could kind of just make a pick here. Sean, do you want to kind of start it off with who you're thinking?
I think it's really hard for me to pick against the Thompsons. I think they're just playing so well together. They won the chicken wire. They're defending champions, and they just won the member. As a mediocre paddle player but a student of the game, Andre was telling me the other day. And Luke, so were those announcer pros that we had on, about how it really is it's a partner game, right? And I got to see the Thompsons firsthand in the second round of the A flight, and it's dizzying. They're constantly moving. They're up, they're back. They're insane. I think they're hard to beat, and I'm going with Thompson.
Yeah, I think it's a solid pick, and I think they'd be the betting favorite heading in. Cliff, do you want to maybe give a pick here?
Yeah, I'm going with the third Thompson, JK Wonder Boy. It's just incredible how he continues to get better every year, and I think Basel is the yin to the yang. He's so solid. I think they're going to win it all, and JK's out for revenge.
I love it. Great pick, and I think a lot of people will be.
But that matchup they'll have prior, which I think will be Rez and Haggerty, that will be must watch as well.
Yeah, Ben, since you're playing in the B with us, do you want to make a pick here for the A division?
Sure. I think that couple dark horses. Shout out to my guy Bobby Post, who carried me in the A flight. I think he comes out of the top side of that bracket with him and Ernie. And then I think they lose in the finals to Shane Rogers. He deserves one of these. And then Tommy Mack.
Wow. Love it. No seeded teams making it to the final. Love that pick.
That's right.
Ben's been away from local paddle for a while.
Yeah. I've played once this year.
That's great. And I think I'm going to pick a dark horse also. Two of my favorite guys, Pat Haggerty and Rez. You know, I know they played a warm-up match with JK and Baz this week, and I think they were, you know, they took the edge in that one. And, you know, if they're both playing well, I think they're going to be really hard to beat. So I think any of these teams really can win it pretty much, but I'm taking my boys Rez and Haggerty.
Luke, you are the most loyal person I know. If Haggerty was playing with Cerami, you'd pick him to win because you're so loyal.
No, Rez is my guy. Me and Rez played 15 nationals this year. He carried me to the finals of that. And, you know, I think he's a great player, underrated player.
Hey, just because it's on my brain, Brian, we're gonna be streaming the matches on Court 3 or not?
I hope so. I got to talk to Alec or Andre about that. I was thinking about that.
Okay.
Although it'd be more fun to turn the camera and show the alleyway behind and the live band and all the nonsense going on in the actual play. But streaming hopefully one way or another. Although the who knows if the Seabright Tennis Club allows that. But
Right.
we will ask.
Or they can stream it not to their site, they can stream it to Cutter's Rule.
There we go.
Yeah, I'll talk to Alec about that. The other thing is that the nest there, I know that they can record the nest facing out towards where the band is filming too. So you might be able to have film there as well.
That'd be hysterical.
Yeah.
Up to a certain point.
Maybe we'll get a few Axon cameras over there, and we'll be broadcasting this thing all over the place. Put a body camera up in the corner. We'll be fine.
Let's hope there's no Axon body cameras.
Yeah, that's fair.
I hate to do this. I'm actually gonna run. I got to bounce. I'm playing in Bayhead with Shane Dog. You know, you can never pass up an opportunity to go to the studio. But thank you guys. I'm looking forward to seeing you all Friday night, and can't wait to see what you guys have to say about the Cox division.
Peace out.
See you
Love
guys.
you, partner.
Later, buddy.
Hey,
Have
you
fun.
guys.
Brian, who are you picking in the A flight?
I like Luke's pick of Rez and Pat going far. I do think that's a tough team. And I could see them having a battle with JK and Basil and edging them out. I mean, all four of those guys are playing really well. I would say my overall pick, though, is if George and Telkowski. I was pretty blown away by, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but we played, me and Eric Matowski played, am I saying that right, Ches? Played Ches and Telkowski in the member guest, and he's gotten that's a good team. That's going to be a tough team to beat. I mean, I think, yeah, the Thompson brothers are playing amazing and better like each week, but it's going to be tight. I give it to George and his partner now.
All right. Chezzy, you gonna weigh in or are you gonna pass on this one?
I'm going to pass, but I'm glad someone finally mentioned George and Matt. They're going to be tough. That's going to be a slog. That top half of the draw. People are picking Rez and Pat. I mean, that's going to be a gauntlet. I mean, that's 4 quality wins if they get there. I mean, that's earning it. I certainly think having a bye in this one is going to really be a benefit.
It's kind of a welcome to the area. Who is Tokarski or whatever, and Sullivan? Who are these guys?
Well, I mean, Matt Tolkowski is a Monmouth Beach guy. He plays out of Morristown. He's been playing for about 3 years, but he played tennis at BC for a little bit, but he's got game. His serve is probably the nastiest serve that you're going to see. It eats up the ad side player. I think in the match point of the member guest, I think he aced JK, just hit him right in the chest. So that's something to watch for. So they're going to be awfully tough on that top half.
Yeah, the first time I saw him, Ches, was the year before. Tolkowski was with Donnie Mack, and they beat Eric Matuski and Caruso pretty handily, from what I recall. And I was like, who is this guy?
Yeah. Well, we'll see
Guys,
more.
how do you see the weather impact in the A flight? I mean, if it stays, on track, it's beautiful, 70 degrees. I mean, how do you change your game in that type of weather?
Well, younger legs is nice, right? I mean, someone that can. I mean, if you're going to blast the ball, you let it go, hit the back wire, and it's still in play. So it's going to be much different than playing in winter. But you look around here. That's why we wanted to feature the B guys and the C guys a little bit more. We play all year round, other than maybe Shane Rogers. We've played all season. So, I mean, it's a good question, but we're all going to face it. I think we're all can adapt to that kind of paddle. I mean, it's a lot more fun. There should be a lot more driving, make it less boring, maybe see some mashing. So, there's a lot of people that can translate very well to that, big drives, but still have young legs to go get them.
You want to move on to the C here?
Yeah, go.
So the first seed is I'm going to mispronounce his name.
Danny Regula and Pat St. Klein, who I call Mustache Guy. And I kind of forget his name too because I just call him Mustache Guy. But they almost won it last year. I believe they were up 4-1 in the finals and lost 6-4 in a very heated battle. So I think they are kind of the clear number 1 seed. And going to be a tough team to beat. So yeah, Danny Garigula and Patrick St. Klein, known as Mustache Guy.
They lost in the finals the year before too.
Yes. I know he badly wants a blazer stitched.
Yeah, so I mean, they got some serious, memories or scar tissue that they're going to have to get over. But number 1,
Ryan, you missed it. Sean's actually getting his patch tattooed on him this year.
I don't doubt it.
hasn't been done.
So then we've got 2 Thompsons.
Yeah, I can if you want to help.
Yeah, great.
Brett Thompson and Tyler Thompson versus Kevin McDonough and Dan Smith. I think that's going to be tough too. Tyler has actually won the B or the C. So those are Scott Thompson's kids, and that's going to be a challenging 16-17 matchup. Down at 9, Rusty and Doug Edler, Rusty Hawley and Doug Edler versus Ted Kingsbury and I think it's Pat Hogan. Stop me if anybody knows any of these guys' games, but Rusty and Doug obviously been playing for a long time. That should be pretty tough to beat.
I love the fact they still come and want to play.
Yeah, that's Doug is always looks like he's having the best day of his life, which always makes me pretty happy.
He's a gamer too, by the way. I mean, he's married to an athlete. He raised athletes. Doug's really tough on the paddle court. I think he could easily be in the B and win. So that's a team I've got my eye on.
Yeah. Then the 8 seed. So the winner of the Rusty Doug Edler, Barry Hogan would play Eric Patry and Jason Hoyt, I believe. And I'm not too familiar with their games. Are you guys?
Yeah, Patry is a lefty. He likes to blitz. He's one of the most improved players over at Seabright. Hoyt is a tennis guy, big serve, big forehand, and when it's on, watch out. So again, those are 2 guys that I'd be watching.
Who's joining? Former Sea Flight champ is connecting to audio. Who's that?
That's me. I got to jump. I'm going to come in on my phone.
Oh, I love
Cliff, that's hilarious. Oh,
yeah, 13 versus 20, Trevor Hawley and Travis Conley versus Noah Pompanek and his partner that he's bringing in. I think I would, Travis Conley's playing some pretty good paddle, as is Trevor. I don't know Noah's game too well, but I see Trevor advancing there. And the winner of that would play Connor DePalma and Tom O'Brien. as the 4 seed. I'm not sure if anybody knows their game, but I think they're always kind of at the top end of the C bracket.
They are. Connor's a member at Seabright, but they both play over at Navasink. And I think you're pretty dead on. They're usually up on the upper end.
Number 12, Adam Lubman and Max Truns, who I think they've had a pretty good season, versus Benny, your buddies, Viggs and PMAC. How do you see that going?
I see them as pretty bad players. So, yeah, I wouldn't expect too much out of my buddies Viggs and PMAC. I would say, who are they playing?
They're playing Adam Ludman and Max Truns.
Do they have any game?
I
Okay.
think I feel like Truns has won a local tournament. Adam's a nice player, yeah.
None knows.
Yeah, no, I had PMAC and Viggs kind of seated at the bottom of this whole thing. And they will play the winner. The winner of that will play Henry Swain and Will Denice, who actually I think are kind of a dark horse, and I could easily see them playing Danny Garigula and Mustache Guy in the semis, which would be one that I would stop playing paddle and have to watch.
My Mustache Guy. I agree. Henry's gotten much better. Will's solid. Those guys are. I could definitely see them coming out of that side of the bracket.
Next up, Derek Still, an old time wire participant. Him and his brother. And his brother, unfortunately, is in Telluride this weekend and is missing his first ever wire. So we will think about him. But Derek is bringing down his buddy, Oliver Thompson, I believe, from Boston. They're playing, Devin Falvey and Dennis Hannon. And that will be a fun one. That will be another one that I have to watch. 8 a.m. Seabright. The winner of that will play Mark Bublitz and Sean McDermott at the 2 seed. That is a team that could win it as well. I don't know if you guys have played with Mark or Sean, but they're nice players as well.
Sean won last year the Sea Flight. I forget his partner. I think his name was Alex. But yeah, I see Mark and Sean doing very well as well. I think that that could be the Swain, Denice, Bublitz, McDermott. Are they on the same side of the bracket or not? No, they're not. Yeah, but sorry.
And then Larry Fell, Bauer 09 champion, all the way to 10th seed of the Cox division and the chicken wire. Playing with his brother-in-law against Rick Callie and Brian Finnegan, some college buddies who are very new to the game. And this will be a nice, easy way to ease into the day for this ex-Bauer champ, Larry Fell. Who will then play Dudick and Robinson in the second round. And that will be
Larry this year.
Has what?
Will Larry play in his Uggs, or will they just be on the side of the court ready to be put on?
Larry's playing. Is that what you're asking?
In his Uggs. He's asking if he's playing in his Uggs.
Oh, who knows?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
he's had so many great moments at the chicken wire. It's hard to recount them all.
Larry the legend.
Larry the legend. That's right. You got to get him on here. Then next up, Doug Lynch and Todd Coggins versus Brennan Cannon and Matt Sutherland. That's going to be a tough one. Matt Sutherland and Brennan Cannon, 2 good athletes. I went to Georgetown with. Matt Sutherland actually played a year of tennis at Emory, and then didn't play anything for the last 20 years.
I feel like he's missed a few of these. Now he's back.
Yes, I haven't seen him in 10 years.
Yeah, this will be
great.
There's a few things at play with that visit.
And Brendan Cannon, who was a good lacrosse player and now has 13 children, I think. But a phenomenal athlete. That'll be a tough one. Dougie Lynch is going to be throwing his body all around. Todd Coggins is pretty steady as always, but Doug's been playing a lot, and that'll be another fun one to.
Brendan Cannon might be the best athlete in the field.
Yeah, I could see them being actually a dark horse.
I mean, A, B, or C might be the best athlete in the field. Is that wrong?
Wow, a big statement from you.
I mean, wasn't he a top 10 PLL draft pick or something?
I don't know. This is where you know all these things. I don't know, but yeah, no, very good athlete. And if Sutherland his head is in the right space,
He won't be. Play Sutherland.
then
That's a poor set of cards that will collapse at any moment.
they could. I mean, who knows if they start building some chemistry, they would play Jay Moody and Graham Manley in the second round as the 3 seed.
Oh wow, that's a good team.
Yeah, so that's a good team. I think they made it to the semis and lost to Mustache Guy and Danny in a tight semi. So, but I think you're right, Ben. I think Cannon and Sutherland could do some damage.
I don't know what, but Graham Manley was a hell of an athlete. I'm not sure if there's going to be. I'm going to want to face off with him.
That is a very good point.
Dual wrestler and football at Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal athlete. When he's like not hurt and firing on all cylinders, I've played grass tennis with him where I'm not saying anything about my game, but he's just smokes me. He's one of the better players of the club when he's healthy. Then the next matchup would be Kevin Boyle and his buddy Bobby Lawrence versus the Mullen brothers, who have also missed a bunch of chicken wires, but are now back flying in on the 6 o'clock flight, land at Newark at 7:30 on Friday. We're very excited to see them. They are a staple of past chicken wires and a lot of fun. But I believe in its field of 64 teams, they are the 64th seeded team. So I see Kevin Boyle and Bobby Lawrence actually being another kind of dark horse, right?
Yeah, they're
probably
good
athletes.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin's played some, Bobby's played some in different tournaments, and
Yeah.
they get balls back.
So they would play if we're advancing Kevin and Bobby Lawrence, which we are. They would play Tony Stanton and Bill Angles, which actually will be a phenomenal match as well. I feel like Tony and Bill, I had the pleasure with playing in the Rumson member guest earlier this year, is improving a ton each time he goes out, and I think that could be like a really that could go down to the wire. So some really fun matchups here in the C, and I'm sorry if I talked too much, but I feel like I know most of these guys, and I don't know if you know a ton of them.
No, I appreciate that. Like Ches says, Ches just wants to see some of these guys slug it out. I think it's the most entertaining one of the most entertaining parts of the chicken wire is watching these guys that are either new to the game or never really play get out there and go to war.
They're just, I mean, there's some freakish athletes. Last year they're hitting shots that you just don't see. And they're giving up their bodies. And, I loved it. I had so much fun watching them last year. I can't wait to watch them again this year.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Is that a lot of these guys play once a year, so that's why it's so fun. Is having them come back, compete, kind of seeing what a paddle tournament's all about, getting excited about it, improving their game, and coming back next year and trying to do better than the year they did before. It's fun playing in this thing, but I want to watch every matchup we've talked about. I want to watch up all of them.
I remember you watched one of my matches, Brian, and I don't think they're playing this year. Pitts and Chiville.
Yeah, so they're in the Skiville. I think this is the first chicken wire Skiville has missed. He has a wedding or something. But Mikey Pizzatola is picked up a guy in the B flight. So he's playing in the B flight with a guy named Jake Samperton, who's a Georgetown lacrosse guy and a good athlete. And I've never seen him play paddle, but I guess he's a decent paddle player, everyone's saying. Has won some tournaments down there. And Ches, I don't know if you looked up his PTI, but he was like maybe 17-5 or something in a DC. So yeah, they'll be a tough team. Mikey's a great athlete and good player, a hothead. But they'll be tough for sure.
No, I know those guys were really good. We scraped by on a tiebreaker. I remember them. And I'm laughing that you bring up hothead because Parks Cuskley kept on drop shotting him. He was not happy about that.
Well, if you play him this year, just make sure you keep drop shotting him. I would.
Well, I think that's a wrap, fellas. If there's anything else anybody else wants to say, we've gone through the field. Super excited. We'll do a post-mortem after it's all said and done, with hopefully the weather holding the way that it's showing.
Any last haymakers from you?
I don't know. I'm getting concerned that there's a bullseye on my back. I don't think I said anything out of line. Did I say anything too
Hey,
bad?
Brian, where's my best friend?
Duff has his cousin's wedding. He found out like 2 weeks ago and had to pull out.
Oh my God, he didn't get the original invite or something to his cousin's wedding.
Yeah, we're trying to get him. We're trying to get him to come up for the hen on Friday, but we'll see. It might be a tall order, but he'll be back. Don't you worry.
I'll miss my BFF.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What time does the hen start?
The hen starts at I think like 12 or 1. And
Oh, wow.
I'm encouraging people to put on their auto away message at work around 1 or 2 and go over there, find an Adirondack chair, and pour yourself your favorite beverage.
Awesome.
Who's the favorite in the hen to win it all?
Oh, good question. I think there's some really tough teams. I mean, Kate Fahey and Alex Conley, who won it last year, are going to be tough to beat. Alex is playing unbelievably and has really come a long way in 5 years. And Kate Fahey is Kate Fahey and a pro pickle player. So, and played at, Tennis Star Michigan. That's going to be a tough.
I think I just saw online that she's number 2 in the world for pickle.
She's amazing.
Sorry, this is the youngest hen, I should say.
Yeah, but then there's some really great teams. I mean, Katie McIntyre, Stephanie, my cousin Stephanie Flynn is playing with a partner down.
Hillary DeFeo.
Yes, correct. And then I think Anna Antonin and the pro at Rumson Gem.
She's a gem.
Very nice team. And then Katie Mack and Emily Billington. So I think I think it's so fun. They love it. It's a great addition to the chicken wire, and I'm so excited about.
Yeah, those are some great teams.
Yeah.
And they doubled the field this year, right?
I think they definitely grew, and there's probably more room for more growth. Let's go worldwide with this thing.
I love it.
Well, guys, thanks so much for having me on. This is so exciting, and can't wait to see you guys Friday for this epic weather weekend that we're seeing right now in the forecast.
Thank you. Well, you missed the beginning. We talked about just all the work that goes into it logistically and otherwise. It's kind of mind-boggling. It's almost like a full-time job. So thank you for
and you just had your third kid this week too. It's amazing.
Right?
Well, you guys
That's
are honestly unbelievable, and doing all this stuff with the brackets, and Sean with the sign auction. I could not have done it without you guys. Like, I remember my head was about to explode last year, the week before. But this year it's been awesome. So thank you guys so much. And there's so many other people that are doing little 3 to 4 hour jobs that all just kind of add up and make the day what it is. So big group effort.
We don't have to worry about a tent this year.
Hopefully not. We can still, the weather might change. So cross your fingers. But yeah, I mean, I can't believe it says 77 degrees right now. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Maybe there'll be maybe Father Manning's replacement will make a visit and bless us as Father Manning did a few years ago.
Hopefully not.
That was still pretty epic coming out of nowhere. Well, thank you, Brian. Thanks for putting it all together, buddy. Can't wait.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you all. Can't wait either.
Thanks for having us on, guys.
All right.
Talk soon.